Does the Z Fold 6 finally break the cycle of not being able to last a full day in my test? Most of last year's foldables failed to last a full day in my test, and the Z Fold 5 was one of those. This year, the Z Fold 6 has the same size battery as last year's Z Fold, so basically any improvements to battery life is going to be down to the chipset and to the screen efficiency. But will that be enough to overcome last year's shortcomings? Like usual, I took the phone off of the charger at 8 AM. I started streaming YouTube at 8:45 AM and pretty much finished the entire 3 hours of my minimum task for YouTube without stopping, except for one moment where I recorded a video to get that going as well. My battery percentage after finishing the 3 hours of YouTube was 71%, and this was around noon. It seemed like a pretty big drop, but we gotta keep in mind that this was after 3 hours of streaming with no Wi-Fi, and I'm pretty sure that the 5-minute recording at 4K 30 took a bit of a toll on the battery as well. Next, I needed to throw away some boxes, and I went to go see my dad at the same time because they have an industrial place where I could throw away the boxes without having to worry about folding and cutting them up. So I went ahead and did that, and in this time, this is kind of like the downtime for the phone. I didn't use it much, so it was on standby a lot, and that kind of helps the battery to extend to the next task. Of course, I did take a few pictures to kind of get into the camera use, make sure I don't leave that to the end and then forget to do it. So I did that, but besides that, not too much was done on the phone. I then came back and watched an hour of Netflix, which is one of my minimum tasks. And by the time I completed that one, the phone was at 53% and the time was 3:36 PM. There's still a lot of time left in the day that the battery has to last, but the heavy things like Netflix and YouTube were already done. So it's actually looking pretty good for the battery right now. The final items missing to complete are an hour of Spotify and about 20 more pictures and videos. Once Spotify was completed, the battery was at 44% and it was 5:32 PM. And all that was missing was the photos and videos, which I took throughout the rest of the day. The battery finally reached 20% at 10 PM in the evening, and that was with 6 hours of screen on time. And with only an hour and a half left in the day and all of my minimum tasks completed, it's just using the phone normally and waiting for the clock to run out. So it's kind of looking like a sure thing right now. Finally, at 11:30, the test is over and the phone made it, so it definitely did better than the last generation. The Z Fold 6 ended with 11% battery remaining and about 6.5 hours of screen on time. And in terms of foldables, it's a pretty strong showing, especially considering that it has a smaller battery than the competition and the screen is just about as large. So there really are two different ways of looking at these results. One of them being that when comparing to all phones in general, it's an average showing, which in my opinion, it's a positive. The second way to look at it is by comparing it to other foldable phones, especially the previous generations. And when looking at it through that lens, it did great. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you have the Z Fold 6, how is the battery performing for you? The last foldable to test for the year is the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. And if you're interested in seeing those results, remember to subscribe so you can get notified when the video is released. If you're interested in buying the Z Fold 6, there is an affiliate link available in the video's description. Of course, never feel pressure to use affiliate links. Also, if you're interested in the review of the Z Fold 6, just click here to watch the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.